How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Brest, the tier 8 French large cruiser. I mean, we all know that I enjoy a good Brest match, and well, I think we almost have the new BA commander maxed out. I think it's 16 legendary 3. Might take us a little bit to get those 15 universals, although we're pretty close to maxing out all of our normal commanders. So pretty soon we'll start getting universal combinations out of the commander crates only, which will be pretty nice, and then we can finally start maxing out all of our collab slash event commanders. So we're almost there. Enemy Charles Martel, kind of kiting, gets absolutely smashed by our friendly battleship. Kind of tricky, sometimes leading these French cruisers that have engine boost. Typically, aim assist will do most of the lead, but then depending on how fast the ship is, you will definitely need to adjust a little more unless it's something that's going very slowly. Charles Martel underled a little bit, but we still get a Citadel in his booty, which is kind of nice. Now that he's running though, we start pushing in, and the enemy Suzuya finally starts shooting. I guess that's the third enemy ship, as one of the other battleships that had actually spawned on this flank decided to run away. So there's basically just two cruisers kind of running for their life at this point. Instead of continuing to chase towards the Suzuya because we know there's definitely torpedoes, we just make a hard turn to the right. It's not like these cruisers are going to Citadel us, so we can just try to conserve our HP as much as we can instead of charging in and getting basically farmed and cooked and losing more HP than we really need to. Charles Martel trying to run while he's on a sliver of HP. Fortunately, dispersion works with us when we don't have our reload boost 30% dispersion gimmick buff active, and we do land enough shells that we finish him off. Now it's just the Suzuya that's trying to run to the border. He makes a pretty hard turn to try and use either his torpedoes or his guns, and we try our best to take a pretty good lead, but unfortunately we still underlead. I'm thinking these shells are pretty slow for being French. I mean, that's just my excuse, because I've been underleading these two cruisers the whole time. Suzuya goes on the border, turns in a bit, but unfortunately we don't actually land any citadels, and he's just on a sliver of HP. He's very focused on our friendly battleship and trying to ride the border to safety, but we're not going to let that happen. We're basically just going to keep shooting him, and hopefully we can finish him off before he does any sort of meaningful damage. Enemy Key that abandoned this flank does shoot at us and resets us, which is kind of unfortunate. I was hoping to get the cap much sooner, and then we could push in because there's a lot of battleships that are giving broadside to us on this A flank because they're so busy dealing with these ships at B. Ideally, if we didn't get reset and could have finished off the Suzuya much faster, we probably could be charging out right now and have a bunch of broadsides to shoot at. And I guess that's the ideal situation you want in the Brest. You want to use the concealment, which is kind of crazy for not having any concealment inspirations and only the concealment mod in the third slot. Having a 10-kilometer detection while also having an engine boost that makes you so fast, it's pretty easy to get to a flank and create a different angle of attack for, well, basically yourself. Ideally, you try to use battleships that are forcing other ships to angle, and then you just show up at 10 km and are basically able to smash them. Taking too long to count the objective because we got reset. The two battleships, or two of the three battleships that were there at B, including the Key, end up dying, which is kind of unfortunate because stuff like Georgia, Key, Brest can Citadel, and there was just a lot of potential damage that was unfortunately lost because we got reset. We use our reload boost for the 30% dispersion buff. Dispersion honestly didn't look that great, which is kind of interesting and also kind of unfortunate. We do land one Citadel though, but if our dispersion had actually worked, which I was kind of confused why it looked so bad, we probably would have gotten more. Second salvo with our reload boost active did not give us any Citadels, which was also kind of unfortunate. There is an enemy destroyer somewhere in front of us as he was last spotted, kiting away from B. So we have an idea of where he is, kind of in front, possibly a little off to the left. So we're going to try to use these small islands to push closer to the key. Fortunately, Key is unlike Iwami and only has 6 cam torps, so we're pretty safe for where we are. Enemy Neptune starts shooting before he goes unspotted in the smoke, so we decide to take a pot shot at him before we finish off the Key. We get 1 Citadel, don't finish him off, which is also kind of unfortunate, but it's a Neptune. He only has AP that also does an overmatch, and we're pretty much bowing to him at this point, as so far everything that he's hit us with has basically done 0 damage. We are staying spotted because we are trying to finish off the Key. We switch to HE and we do set a fire, but our teammate does finish him off. We are unspotted, so we know the destroyer is somewhere off to our left, and this is possibly an opportunity to charge in and maybe get closer to the Neptune. We get spotted, probably because the destroyer is that much further off to the left that he's finally gotten past the island that we're sitting at. So he's basically on our ship's broadside, who are basically right next to me, a little behind me, pushing into B. So I'm kind of assuming those ships are the ones that's going to be torpedoed. And now it's time to try and make a break for it, charging towards the Neptune that is currently in smoke. We still have a minute left on our engine boost, so I kind of have a hope that we can close the distance and get far enough away from the destroyer that's behind us that we won't really be a target as we charge in. Since there's nothing to shoot at as well, and since we're pretty much going to stay spotted by the destroyer regardless of what we try to do, might as well just take pot shots. I mean, Neptune has a fat Citadel, so I mean, chances are we can, you know, get one and actually finish him off. But that's kind of wishful thinking. But as we get closer and his smoke fades, there's not really going to be anywhere for him to run. The other destroyer that's still alive from the enemy team did kill one of our battleships from our spawn side, so I'm kind of assuming that he is south of B, trying to chase our friendlies that's pushing through B. Enemy Neptune gets spotted, as well as an enemy Iwami. Not the best situation to be charging in at a battleship that can overmatch us, but at the same time, if he wants to use his torpedoes, he's going to give us a decent amount of broadside where we can actually Citadel him, and we do have our reload boost ready. Iwami has a pretty large Citadel, and we decide to use our reload boost, trying to hit his cheek. Both the salvo from myself and friendly battleship behind me absolutely smash Iwami for over half his HP. And now Iwami, turning a little more to try and get an angle with his torps, is clearly a mistake, as we are close enough and we do in fact get enough Citadels to finish him off. One of the best things about Brest, you can just absolutely punish things when you have your reload boost active, which is kind of how I would like ships to be in this game, where you can actually punish things and not have a broadside Yamato in front of you, 5 cam, and then you and your Laria shoots a whole salvo and not getting a single Citadel because dispersion and RNG. Things that can happen in this game because of who is calling me at this moment. I'm out. My bad. No more interruptions. I kind of lost my train of thought and what I was saying, but we're basically trying to play the objective. We are spotted, enemy destroyer smokes up. Knowing where he is, I decide to just simply turn in because there's probably a reason he smoked up and started shooting, probably trying to bait me into turning or something, which, I mean, we did turn, but at the same time, we're now bow into where he was. And yep, there's the torpedoes. Maybe he wanted me to turn away and run faster or something. But at this point, we're getting our engine boost back. We have 4 kills. We need 1 more for a Kraken. So that's what we're going to try and do. We get spotted, so we think enemy destroyer has left his smoke. Kirisame gets spotted, but it turns out he also has a smoke. So now we're thinking both destroyers are actually here. The destroyer that we thought was chasing our battleships from behind or south of B is actually right in front of us. Kirisame decides to leave his smoke. Unfortunate shot there. We missed most of our salvo, But we are about to get our reload boost back, and there's no way that we miss having 30% dispersion at point blank range. And Kirisame gets touched a little bit from our friendly teammates, and having that 30% dispersion, we land more than enough shells to dev strike him and secure our Kraken. So this is pretty much a GG. I think if the destroyers didn't get spotted and probably worked together a little better than one smoking up and then the other getting caught and trying to smoke up, maybe they would have had a better chance to actually finish me off, or at least one of our teammates, because then they, you know, wouldn't have basically given away their position. I go unspotted. I'm kind of assuming the last destroyer did leave his smoke, the first one that shot, and is somehow on the outside of C trying to run away for his life. But our friendly battleship gets torpedoed, and we know he's somewhere behind us, so now we're kind of in a weird spot because, well, we're not going to really be able to turn around at this point. Elbing finally gets spotted, full HP. Could have been gunboating and using that HP effectively, but I guess needed to conserve and be torpedo boat. Maybe he was using blue. That's a possibility. Friendly anchorage chasing him down now. Elbing trying to run for his life. Not a lot of time left on this match because we're almost at 1,000 points. Might as well just take one last pot shot in the hopes of hitting him and maybe getting a little more damage, just for damage's sake. Friendly anchorage though did get absolutely nuked by the Elbing to torpedo of all things, which he probably would have just been better off being angled and just using his guns, but you know, this player base needs to turn broadside to the torpedo. That's like the #1 rule. That's what you have to do in this game to do well. But Chromie Sarika, 3,500 in Brest, Kraken. Man, don't we love Brest? We're Brest guys, man. If you're not a Brest guy, I don't know what you are. But yeah, probably my favorite tier 8 large cruiser. I mean, even though you have the funny AI gaming Michelangelo and Schroeder, which, don't get me wrong, I do also absolutely love. There is no other cruiser that touches Brest, or not touches Brest, but Brest touches like Brest. Yeah. Chromie Sarika, full accuracy build. Scharnhorst, Norman Scott. I mean, we tried to get as much accuracy as we can, but there were some still pretty trolly salvos, especially with our reload boost active, specifically on the key. But for the most part, the rest of the salvos did look pretty good. Who knows, maybe aiming bug, which, you know, they'll never admit if there is one. Shells don't ever land short. But, yeah, Brest. Very good large cruiser, although I will say it's probably kind of reliant on this gimmick commander, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, the whole pay to win thing, or at least pay to play well, because there's definitely people that pay for ships and definitely don't win. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share with your friends, or leave a comment down below on other ships you want to see in the future. But anyway guys, until next time, aloha.